are live. Welcome, everybody. I am Ken Masson. I am the president of the Rotary Club of World Disability Advocacy. We are a club that has been formed about 3 years ago, and our mission is to work on advocacy for the human rights of people with disabilities around the world. And today I am in Colombia, South America, originally from the United States. And I have the pleasure of being here with Mesh, who is in Kenya. And he is an advocate for albinism, but he's also an advocate for people with disability rights also. He does a lot of posting and a lot of very educational posting. So I have the pleasure of being here with you today. Mesh, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, hello. I'm Mesh Holykis from Nairobi, Kenya. I'm a person with albinism, and I'm also a student at Tangaza University College in Nairobi, whereby I'm pursuing journalism. As you have heard, I'm a disability advocate. I use music to advocate for person with disabilities, especially person with albinism, and also I write blogs on my social media platform, yeah, to create awareness about albinism and disability in general.
You do a lot. And
Yeah,
somehow during this conversation, we're going to have to give out or maybe an email or a club email so that people, if they
yeah,
want to see some of the postings you do, I urge them to do
yeah,
so. I always enjoy what you write. I like a person like you because you're an educator. And you
yeah,
open people's minds to thinking about different issues with disabilities that others probably are not even thinking about. But certainly, I have been in a club president for 3 years in this business, and you educate me. You
yeah.
educate me. Yeah. So thank you for that. So let's talk a little
I'm
bit
humble.
about our subject today because I think it's something that's important for a lot of people to know more about. That's albinism. And what is it? Tell me what it is.
Actually, albinism is a genetic disorder that is characterized by the production of little or no melanin on the skin, or rather, you can say is a lack of melanin. And melanin is the pigment that determines the color of the skin. So, mostly person with albinism lack of melanin on their skin, on their hair, and even their eyes. So, we normally people see as white people, rather pale white. Our hair are sometimes we have person with albinism with white hair, other pale brown, other red. So yeah, that is albinism.
I want to give a shout out to Monique, who's watching us today, and she's a club member, so she's from Uganda. So,
Oh,
so I guess the question is, and I'm going to ask you some questions that may seem to you naive, but I think it's important for everybody to understand it. So, it
yeah,
is it something that in you inherit?
yeah. Just from my definition about albinism, you see that is a genetic disorder. So actually, uh, albinism we can say is an something that you can inherit from rather parents when the parents both parents are carrier of albinism gene in the genes, can they can give birth to a child with albinism. But to some point you find that some parents even lack these symptoms of albinism, but they give birth to uh, a child with albinism. So this thing recurs from generation to generation, probably when the parents have that genes. in the in the in the blood. So it's something that it is inheritable, but at some point, yeah. But it's
So
very rare to find a it's
it
very rare to find a child with albinism in a family where there maybe someone with albinism has never existed before. So it is inheritable.
so it's been in your families for a long time, for a long time, right? Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
in my family, yeah, because from my conversation with my mom about myself, she normally tells me that my great grandfather was
Okay, you had a little connection problem here, but you're back. You're back.
yeah,
Okay,
I'm back.
so so this, so a person, a family that has a gene in it, and it could be the mother or the father, right? It could be either one, right? Is that correct?
No, both. If both are
It has to be both.
carriers of,
Oh,
yeah,
okay. So
yeah,
then a parents who have the gene and have a child, does it mean that that child will have albinism, or
please pardon,
will have
pardon.
will have the symptoms of albinism? Will a child
Yeah.
necessarily have the symptoms if the parents have the gene?
It depends. It is not guaranteed that if both parents are carriers of albinism genes, they will give birth to a child with albinism. But most probably, in many cases whereby parents have kids with albinism, these come from the results of both parents being a carrier of albinism genes. But at some point, it is very rare to find like parents who don't have the albinism symptoms giving birth to children with albinism.
Okay.
Yeah,
And so we need to be clear about this. Now, we just pretty much established it was something you inherit from your family, but yeah,
yeah.
do people think they can catch it? When you
Catch it
run
as
into
in.
people, when you run into people, do they think I don't want to be near you because I may catch albinism?
Yeah, like this in the society that we live is it's quite funny how people see you as a person with albinism. For instance, for me, it took me and even right now we haven't just spread that awareness about albinism to the fullest. We still have people who fear to socialize with person with albinism because they feel like it's something that is contagious. Like when you shake hands with people, you might infect them. They might become like you. So still, there is that need of creation awareness, but it is not contagious. Yeah,
Right, right.
albinism is
I
not
wanted to,
contagious.
I wanted to
Yeah,
establish that because I realized many disabilities that's the same case. You know, take
yeah,
something like cerebral palsy. People see somebody with cerebral palsy, and they want to stay away from that person because they think they're going to catch cerebral palsy. You can't catch cerebral palsy, and
yeah,
you can't catch albinism. Um,
yeah.
so tell me then, what are I got many questions for you, so let me think which one I want to ask you next. So, what is the um, let me ask this one first before we get in. I want to get a little bit into what are the side effects of having it for a person. What's the concerns? But let's get my first question is because I want to
Yes.
establish this one too. Can it be cured? You're gone on mute. Mesh, you're on mute. Mesh, you're on mute.
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay, sorry about that. So
Yeah.
that's the phrase of the 20th century, of this century, because everybody's on mute. So the question is again, can it be cured?
Uh, Actually, from what I know, albinism so far, maybe they're still doing research, but by now I just know that albinism cannot be cured, but it can be managed. For instance, for me as a person with albinism, uh, I normally take part in activities just like any other person without albinism. So what I normally do to manage my condition is that before I go out uh, on sun, I have to use sunscreen lotion to help me to avoid that ultraviolet ray from sun, and also to keep me to protect me from getting skin burn from the sun. So it cannot be cured, but just managed. I also do put on shades and long sleeve shirt just to cover my skin and protect me from direct heat from sun. And also about my sight, because I'm also low vision, I have that uh, eye condition, so I also use spectacles while reading and also while using my phone, just to also to regulate light, because I'm much affected by light. So till now I can't say that it can be cured, but it can be managed. Yes.
Okay, and so it can be managed. So it
Yeah.
are and am I correct in using the word symptoms? So the symptoms of
Yeah.
albinism, um, um, are they the same in every person who has albinism, or are they different?
Just like I said before, like actually we have four types of albinism, uh, but the pronunciation about the names are quite difficult for me. But what I know, we have uh, person with albinism who uh, have white pale hair. We have those who have a brown, others have red hair. So it it varies. It doesn't. It's not the same. The symptoms are not the same in the four groups of albinism. But the common one is like just like me, as you can see, uh, pale white hair and mm, gray eyes. So we also have other type of albinism whereby you cannot differentiate the child from the parent, like the symptoms are quite similar to the parent, but the child has albinism, so it varies from different person depending on the type of albinism, because we have so far we have from the research we have four types of albinism.
Okay, and
Yeah.
is it considered a disability?
Yeah. Let us understand something about disability, because from my understanding I know disability is a condition that maybe if a person have that condition, it prevent him or her to interact to interact well with the surroundings. So as me as a person with albinism, I have sometimes I get challenged to interact in this in with my surrounding, because for me to go on sun, I will need sunscreen for me to be able to participate in other activities like any other person without albinism. I also require I also need sunscreen and uh, sorry, sunglasses for to regulate light, so that I can be able to see like any other person without albinism. For this reason, it makes me to conclude that albinism should also be categorized as uh, disability, because right now here in Kenya, albinism is one of among the other disabilities. So yeah, albinism should be considered as one of the disabilities. Yeah.
So you're saying the government of Kenya recognizes albinism as a disability? Is that true? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
And by recognizing it, then you qualify for services.
Yeah, actually, the government of Kenya is trying. Is trying. I cannot say that we are yet there, but it's trying hard to ensure that they, for instance, for now there's free sunscreen lotion for person with albinism, and sometimes they give long sleeve shirts, but mostly they give sunscreen lotion to person with albinism, and also uh, they also provide sunglasses to person with albinism.
Okay,
So there are many there are many benefits that they have put aside for person with albinism, because we are also being tax exempt like any other person with disability.
right. So
Yeah,
the symptoms you've mentioned a few times here, that
yeah.
the symptoms are or I'm not sure if symptoms is the word. First of all, you said you have low vision. Is that part of your albinism? Is that caused by that, or is that another issue?
No, like automatically, because I say like when we go back to the definition about albinism, we find that albinism, this is lack of melanin on skin and hair, and also in the eye. So because of that lack of melanin, this make me to become low vision. Like I can't see like any other person with melanin in his or her eye. So I really strain a lot uh, because of light. To me, light, when there is too much light, I can't see. So it makes me to strain a lot. So yeah, like that's make me to be low vision. And many a times when I go to the doctor for assessment, I was told that I can only see 6 meters, but it varies with other friends with albinism, because some of my friends see far, but for me I only see 6 meters. And I also have other friends who see see a short distance that compared to mine. So it varies, and most of person with albinism that I have interacted with them are low vision, and or they have visual impairment. But I've never come across a person with albinism who is totally blind.
Okay, give a shout out to Sonini also. She's from Zimbabwe, who's
Yeah,
also a club member. And she does post that albinism is considered a disability. I suppose it varies from country to country at this point.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. So, so the main symptoms are the concerns with the eyes and the concerns with the skin being sensitive to sunlight. Is that correct?
yeah. And also the color of the hair.
Color of the hair. Okay.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't affect anything else as far as, and I'm asking this question maybe by somebody who needs to get more educated on the subject, but it doesn't affect anything else. There's no mobility issues. There's no hearing
Yeah,
issues or anything like that, right?
yeah, it doesn't affect any other part. Uh, for me, I walk. and like I walk with my two legs and I can hear. Yeah. So basically the eye and the skin uh, uh, is are the parts that are affected. Yeah. But other parts are okay. Like you can just move with your legs. You can hear. Yeah.
Okay. and and the other part of it is, I'm sure that you're being discriminated against.
Yeah, of course, discrimination is one of the main challenge that we face as person with albinism and also a person with disability in general. Because when people see you, they feel like this belief that person with albinism are maybe are cars, are are not human, are ghosts. So some people just stay away from you. They don't want to interact with you. They just avoid you. Like they just avoid you just because of your condition. Because they feel like maybe you are results of your parents maybe mistake or any other, maybe they did something wrong before, so you are the result of the cars upon them. But what I know from what I know, just the way I describe, I define it before, that is a genetic disorder that is characterized with the production of little or no melanin. So
Right.
ever since I know, I understand that albinism is all about genetics.
Okay.
I accepted myself, and I don't care about how the people will see me. But that's why I decided to, because I was talented in music, I decided to use music to create awareness that you guys say that person with albinism don't die, they just disappear. You say that person with albinism are cursed. So through music I normally communicate and tell them that we are human beings like any other human being. It's just that we lack melanin, but we can do anything like any other person with or without albinism.
So, an important part of this whole thing is awareness, to try to bring awareness to people about it. I,
Yeah.
I assume in different categories. Let me look at some different things as far as the subject of discrimination. How about getting work? Does that impact you getting a job because people won't hire a person with albinism?
Uh, Actually, before, most of the even most of higher education institution used to like only allowed person with albinism and also person with visual impairment to pursue only career in education, because they feel like that was the only work that we person with albinism and those with visually impaired can do. They used to believe that we cannot do other jobs like engineering, or rather journalism, and even we cannot do these other jobs. But for now, like we have many person with albinism and even with visually impaired who are working in other sectors like health sectors, transport sectors. So these are true definition that it is not about our disability, but we have the ability to deliver other to deliver like any other person. But still that stigma is there. Like you can find a person has done journalism or engineering, and he or she applies for a job, they only give him or her a job like a receptionist or customer care service. But this guy have the ability to deliver, to do engineering. So they just feel like, still with those many qualification, they still they still doubt us that we cannot deliver in that field. So most of the job opportunities that person with disabilities in general normally get are these receptionists and or customer care service. Yeah. So
Okay.
there's still that's discrimination in job places.
There's a lot of work to be done there. So, and another question,
Mm.
and of course, we talk with you about your perspective from a Kenyan standpoint as opposed to global, but I'm sure that there are universal global issues too that people go through with discrimination. Um,
Yes.
what about the medical profession? Do they seem to understand it?
Yeah. I think so far so good because nowadays when we celebrate International Albinism Awareness Day in June 13, most of the time we invite medical profession to come and talk and also to create awareness about albinism. So most of medics are aware, and they really they really try their best also to create awareness, even in the health facility. When we go for checkup, they also create awareness about albinism. So they're really trying to create awareness in the society in the level they can. So yeah, they are really contributing much in
Well, it's
creation
good to
of
hear.
awareness.
It's good to hear that. It's good to hear. It
Yeah,
really is. And I would imagine too, and I'm going to ask you. I'm not going to answer the question. Growing
yeah,
up as a child in the education system, you must have faced. I mean, children tend to be a little more opinionated when somebody is not quote normal to them.
yeah.
So they did you have pressure as a child in the school system? And I'm talking about your with your fellow students and maybe your teachers too. I don't know. How was the school system treat
Yeah,
people?
in primary level, actually, I got it hard to interact with other students because some of them were curious, and other will call you horrible names. Others, I used to put on hat. So someone will just snatch hat from you and run away with it. Even they sometimes took my spectacles, ran away with them. So I used to use my binomial binomial to
Yeah,
read, magnifying lens to read. So
yeah.
sometimes you can find even students stealing it from you when you read while you holding the book closer to you. They start making fun of you. So it was quite difficult to maneuver and to cope with the with the situation. But with time, I thank my mom and my siblings because they were there for me, and they used to encourage me that despite the fact people are making fun of you, you are created fearfully, and you are wonderful and fearfully created. So this actually used to motivate me and keep me going despite the situation that I was going through in school. Even in the neighborhood, some parent could even deny their children to play with me because they feel like maybe I might transmit my condition to them. So yeah, it was horrible. But in secondary, I thank my deputy principal because he introduced me in scouting, whereby I used to participate with other students in scouting. Where at this moment is when I discovered that I was talented in music. Then I started doing music to create awareness about myself. Through that, many students you become my friend, and uh, those who had other beliefs about albinism uh, started changing and having positive attitude towards me. And until now I have many friends who before used to avoid me, but now we are good friends, and they even ask because I normally tell them, if you have a question, just ask. Don't just feel shy because I'm here, and tell you if this is right or this is wrong, because actually many people used to believe that person with disability with albinism don't die, they just disappear. So
Huh.
like some
Wow.
have some questions that are, are somehow like funny. So when I was open to such question, many people uh, were motivated and also were educated. Who those who had negative attitude right now are good friends of mine, and they also
Nice.
help me in creating awareness about myself and albinism in general.
I like that you, yeah, because I've heard this message many times about the support of families, and particularly the support of mothers for a
Yes.
child with this disability. How important that that person is in this person's life, which impacts. And I'd love to hear the story you had support from, particularly your mother, on this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of parents. I hope maybe one day we'll do a webinar on the importance of the parent in the child with disabilities. Um, so uh, let me take one break here to just give a little ad for that. I am the president of the Rotary Club of World Disability Advocacy. We are a club that's global. We focus on the human rights of people with disabilities around the world. And if anybody is interested in finding out more information about the club, or maybe would be interested in joining us on our mission, you can write to us at RotaryWDA@gmail.com. Oh, okay, so let's get back to we've got where are we? Got about another 10 minutes, um, and I'd like to first of all, the question is, and I think you answered it, but let's ask it again. How do you deal with all these people with all these attitudes? I mean, how do you keep yourself positive thinking when obviously you're facing discrimination, and discrimination often is the product of somebody who's naive. So that's why I like to do this awareness thing. But you had to deal with it, and you and other people with albinism have to deal with the same thing. And tell us how you do that. How do you cope with all that those those comments about you?
Actually, for me, uh, well, once I discover that I'm fearfully and wonderfully made like any other person, and that that attitude of self acceptance, I first accept myself that this is me, and this is me, and there's no day that maybe I will change. So this is a condition that I will live with, and once I understand that I'm a person with albinism, and yes, the society have different views about me. Before I step out of my house or out of the door, I have that thought that I will meet with a person who maybe will have a negative attitude about me, and also I will meet a person who will have positive attitude about me. So these are actually prepared for any negative or positive attitude, and it also keep me going because uh if any person maybe will stigmatize me because of my condition, is I'm already prepared, and most of the time I use that negative part about how people view me to use it in a positive way, because at times when, for instance, in school, while other students were calling me horrible name, I took it as a joke, and even sometimes when they call me with my name, I will remind them that name they used to call, and they become surprised that how they feel like this name is bad. They are trying to humiliate me by calling me that name, but to me I take it as a in a positive way. So this make them to even start changing their move themselves, because that was the only survival tool that I had. Because when I say that I will maybe get mad of someone because him or her has called me an horrible name, or rather has treated me bad because of my condition, how many people will I have to face, or how many people will I have to argue with because they have done a negative thing on me? So that by understanding that, I just took anything the way it comes. I don't see it as a negative action towards me, or a negative attitude towards me. I just see it in a positive way and to work with that. And these has really helped me to avoid some depression about me being called uh, horrible names, or rather being treated very bad because of my condition. But
Okay.
it's not that easy. It's very hard because it took me a long time for me to become that bold to face these people out there in the society. But I cannot avoid them, because these are people we have in the society, and I will have to meet with them in my daily living. So that's how I had to become bold and be to advocate for myself as a person with albinism.
That's very good. That's very good. Yeah, and life is a learning process, and you can go in a positive way or a negative way, and you chose the positive way. So that's nice. And I've read your
Yeah.
words so many times that you've posted, but actually I've never heard your music. How can we hear your music? Where do you post it somewhere?
Actually, I have a YouTube channel.
Okay, good.
I,
And
I
it's
will
called
share.
what? It's
I will.
called.
Just my name, Mesh Holykis. That is MESH space HOLYKID. Mesh Holykid.
Okay, good. I'm going to go check it out as soon as we get off the air here. And is your music a social message, or is it more geared towards music? Kind of crazy
I started
question,
as
but go ahead.
it's okay. Actually, I'm a believer, so I do gospel music. But at the time when I realized that also in this generation, most of the people like to listen a lot than reading, I I decided that music is the only tool that maybe I can use to create awareness about myself. So my first song I did with a friend of mine who is visually impaired. It was about albinism. So we did it in 2019, and actually in 2020 2021 we were we were we did a documentary about that song by a certain media, which is a national media here in Kenya. So uh, by through that we decided that we'll not only focus on albinism alone, because also other persons with disabilities are also going through many challenges just like us person with albinism. So we decided that we will use music to advocate for person with disabilities and also create awareness in the society.
Great. I'm gonna go check it out as soon as we're done here. So I'm looking forward to that. And let's kind of take a final question that gives you an opportunity to talk to um, the um, the albinism community around the world. I mean, let's take a person who maybe is struggling with it at this point. Um, do you have a message for them?
Actually, allow me to go back. So, actually, Ken, some of the challenges that we also person with albinism are facing, you might find most of children with albinism are being raised by single parents, especially their mothers. At some points, you can also find most of them are being raised out by their grandparents. So, and they are in a low income, let me say they're in a poverty condition. So these are some of the challenges that also person with albinism and other person with disabilities are going through, and you'll find they lack some of them, they even don't go to school because their parent can't afford school fees. So my encouragement to a parent for a child with albinism is that for me, like, I normally like to use an example of myself because uh, I'm a child in a family of three, whereby I'm the only person with albinism. But my mom, despite the fact that I was raised up by a single mom, but my mom never discriminated me. She treated us equally, and she educated us equally. Like, she did not see that because I'm a person with albinism, she should put more effort in me. No, she treated us equally, and we were educated equally. So, to any parent out there, do not hide your child because of his or her disability, or because he or she is a person with albinism. Please, nowadays we have scholarship, we have support, we have well wishers. Just ensure that you educate your child, because you never know. Because if my mom could have maybe hide me today, I won't be a journalist today. Maybe I won't be doing this interview with Ken. So I will encourage any parent out there to try as much as they can to ensure that they educate their children, and they should treat their children equally. They should not discriminate their children basing on their disabilities. And to any person with albinism out there, what I can tell you is that it's all about self acceptance. When you accept yourself that yes, I'm a person with albinism, then the society will also accept you. But when you don't accept yourself, it will be hard for you to face the society. And as you know, we we won't we have the society is there, and in our daily life we have to come across other people without disability or albinism. So once we accept ourselves that this is who we are, that will make us to advocate for ourselves, to be bold about ourselves, to be proud of ourselves. Because what I know, we have abilities, despite the fact that we are person with disabilities or person with albinism. We are gifted like any other person. We can do we can do anything uh, like any other person without or with albinism.
That's super, very good. And of course, one of the things we wanted to accomplish today is to bring some awareness to it, bring some awareness to people that have albinism, because I assume that most of them are aware that they're of their concerns they have to deal with, but also to educate. I'm getting back to that again. So I mean, I'm assuming, and maybe I'm wrong, Mish, if correct me on that, that they understand that their skin condition, they got to protect themselves. I would assume most people that have the
Yes,
have albinism understand that part of it. But
yes,
also to maybe educate those that had know little about the subject at this point. Maybe you created some interest here today, and maybe they'll go out and do some more research. At least Google
yes,
it to find out about it. And maybe if you know somebody
yes,
or somebody's in your community that has albinism, maybe to try to learn about that person from what your
Yeah,
words
definitely.
today. You know, we can encourage somebody to do that, then all the better. And even I would hope that, but from a Rotary standpoint, I would hope that individuals welcome people with albinism into their club and don't feel some of the discriminatory uh, feelings about it. So hopefully you gain some knowledge here, and you'll gain more. You'll go out and do some research about it, and much appreciate you here. We need to get you back because you're a man of many talents and you're a man of many
Yeah,
opinions. And I want to hear
yeah.
those opinions. I want to hear them. I want to hear them because they're good. Yeah, whether people agree
Actually,
with them or not. Go ahead.
actually, I'm humbled to be, yeah, to be interviewed by Ken, because like Ken, I knew you through your LinkedIn account. So I'm very happy to have an interview with you, and I'm looking forward on having more such conversation like this, because for me, like, today we have just talk about albinism. Maybe there's sometimes we can talk about talent, because we have person with albinism who are talented. Like, I also play football, so we use also football to create awareness. So we there are many things that we can talk. Yeah,
Oh yeah, oh
but
yeah.
because of
I'd love
time,
to do that.
yeah,
And we can do it on this
yeah.
format, or we can do it on other formats. There are many different things we can do. But I think
Yeah,
you're a man that we need to hear a lot more from, and I'm looking forward to doing that with you. Um,
yeah, I'm being glad.
as well. And so we, once again, we're the Rotary Club of World Disability Advocacy. Our mission is to focus on advocacy for the human rights of various people with disabilities around the world. And if you want to join us, and I hope you do, because we want you, the more the better. And when it comes to advocacy, is you write to Rotary WDA at gmail.com. Maybe we'll have you back and you can play us a song or something. I don't know if you do live performances or not, but we can do that at some point.
Yeah, I'll be glad.
We'll, we'll figure it out. We'll talk about it. So thank you, Mish. It's been a pleasure being with you today, and I'm looking
Pleasure.
forward to the next opportunity. You want to find any of his connections, write to us at Rotary, and we'll put you in touch with them. Take care,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Good day.